Hello learners, I am Dr. Subodh Kisharwani working with Indira Gandhi National Open University in School of Management Studies. The topic which I am going to talk today is diagrammatical presentation, which is part of our course called MCU3 Research Methodology and Statistical Analysis. This is the second year MCOM program and we are here to talk about diagrammatical presentations. In our preceding sessions, if we recapitulate fastly, we have covered the first block. The first block was having roughly 10 to 12 lectures which revolves around the business research plan, collection of data, sample, measurement of scaling techniques. So we have covered the preamble part, which starts with talking about the research, then how you are going to plan your research, how you are going to come out from the research problem, then how you are going to collect the data. Either it could be the primary data or secondary data, and then how the sample is going to be frame. Either it could be the random sample or non-random sample, that we have already covered in our preceding sessions. And then measurement of scaling techniques, then how you are going to apply the scaling techniques, which could be comparative in nature or non-comparative in nature. So this first particular block was emphasizing more on research and data collection, and the second block, which exclusively talks about processing and preservation of data. We have already covered the first session, which was talking about the processing of data, how you are going to code the data, how you are going to tabulate the data, how you are going to classify the data. This we have already covered in the preceding session under the ambit of processing of data. Now we are emphasizing more on diagrammatic and graphical presentation of data, and this particular session talks about the diagrammatical presentation of data, because we have seen that the text have got certain constraints, and if you are going to visualize the text, I think it's really a cumbersome process. So taking into consideration this diagrammatic presentation is really a one step in this direction, which can present the text in a diagrammatical format. So when you go more into the depth of this diagrammatic presentation, you will find out that diagrammatic presentation is the visual form of presentation of data in which facts are highlighted in the language of diagrams. So it consists in presenting statistical material in interesting and attractive geometrical figures, which can be considered as a bar, circles, rectangles, squares, pictures, maps and charts. So gradually when we move into this particular session, you will find out that how these dimensions of diagrams are going to be changed and it's going to be visualized. Either it could be the one dimensional, two dimensional or three dimensional that we are going to cover. So it will attract the attention of a large number of persons. It facilitates comparison between two or more sets of data, and when you are going more into the depth of this diagrammatical presentation, you will find out it is the most attractive and appealing way to represent statistical data. I think in our preceding sessions, when we were talking about the collection of data, we see that data usually is in the raw form, and when you are going to apply the statistics, when you are going to apply the research methodology and you apply certain tools, I think from there you are basically customizing the data, making it more tailor-made, more user-friendly. So that is the emphasis of diagrammatical presentation, because diagrams helps in visual comparison and have a bird's eye view. That is very true, and it is a technique of presenting numeric data through pictograms, cartograms, bar diagrams, pie diagrams, which we are gradually going to elaborate in a more systematic manner and a more with the help of examples we are going to talk about. If we see this particular chapter, I think it starts with the importance of visual presentation of data. What is the importance of presenting of data in a visual manner? Because the time had changed. There was a time when we have no choice, but data used to be governed in a text format. But after a certain time, we observed that this graphical way of presenting the data had come up, and right now we are moving one step ahead to that, which more talks about the video way of presenting the data. So this is one of the way by which the thing had been changed. In the coming years, you will find out there will be more change which can make the presentation more agile and active. So anyway, this diagrammatical presentation, there are certain rules for preparation of diagrams, and there are certain types of diagrams. It could be either one dimensional bar diagrams, or the simple bar diagrams, or the multiple bar diagrams, or subdivided bar diagrams. So what we have seen that the one dimensional bar diagrams talks about simple bar diagram, multiple bar diagram and subdivided bar diagram, whereas there are other way of talking about, that is pie diagram, structure diagrams. It could be either the organizational charts or flow charts. So anyway, what we mean to cover here, that we are going to cover this diagrammatical presentation today, and as far as the graphical presentation is concerned, that is graphs of time series, graphs of one dependent variable, or the more than one variable. It's going to be cover frequency distribution, which can talk about the histograms, frequency polygon, cumulative frequency curves. All are going to be explained under the next theme, which called the graphical presentation. But here we are more talking about the diagrams way of presenting the things. There are certain significance of diagrams and graphs. They are attractive and impressive. They make data simple and intelligible. They make comparison possible. They save time and labor. They have universal utility. They give more information. They have great memorizing effect. And if when we visualize the thing in a graphical format, or in a diagram format, or in a video format, which is a current trend right now, we have seen that the things had been changed, and this is going to give a lot of mileage to memorize the thing. So anyway, this, as far as the graph is concerned, it's going to be bifurcated into histogram, Lorentz curve, ogive, frequency polygon, and frequency curve. This we are going to cover under the ambit of graphical presentations. And here we are just emphasizing on types of diagrams. Either it could be one-dimensional, or it could be two-dimensional diagrams, or it could be the three-dimensional diagrams. And then finally we talk about the pictograms and cartograms. So if you talk about the one-dimensional diagrams, these one-dimensional diagrams are such diagrams where only one dimension measurement, that is height, is used. So these diagrams may be in the form of lines or bar. There is no importance of width or thickness in these diagrams. So that is the reason we have certain bifurcation into it, which talks about the bar diagram, simple bar diagram, and the height of these lines and bars are taken on the basis of values. So under this construction, only one dimension, that is length, we have already talked about, is taken into account for the purpose of comparison and observance of fluctuation in growth. So length of each bar is proportionate to the magnitude of the data, and the width is not related to the magnitude of data. And generally the width is given for the purpose of visual effect and attractiveness. So there is the parameter which is going to be taken care is the length. So the width of each bar and the gap between one bar to another bar must be uniform. Mention the respective figures at the top of every bar. And large number of one-dimensional diagrams are available for presenting data, such as line diagram, simple bar diagram, multiple bar diagram, subdivided bar diagram, percentage bar diagram, deviation bar diagram, etc. So we shall, however, study only the simple bar diagram here. And if you see this particular image, you will find out this, in such diagrams only one dimensional measurement, that is height, is used and the width is not considered. So we start with line diagram, simple diagram, multiple bar diagram, subdivided bar diagram, and then percentage bar diagram. So if we go more into the depth of this one dimensional diagram vis-a-vis the line diagram, we observe that in these diagrams only line is drawn to represent one variable, and these lines may be vertical or horizontal. And line diagram is used in case where there are many items and there is least difference between value. The construction of the diagram is very simple. It makes comparison easy. It has no width and hence of very poor visual effects, so it is less attractive. So if you talk about, go more into depth of one dimensional diagram, the bar diagram is the easiest and most commonly used method. It consists of bars of equal width, all horizontal or vertical, standing on a common baseline at equal intervals. They make comparison between different variables. Examples are simple bar, multiple bar, subdivided bar, percentage bar, duodirectional bar, deviation bar, and broken bar diagram. These are the examples of one dimensional diagram. And if you see this particular image, the right side, we have a bar starting, going in an upward direction. The first is quite smaller, second is somewhat bigger, third is little bit bigger, and fourth is, the highest point. So this is an example of simple bar diagram which depicts that, the 4 is quite larger. So simple bar diagram can be drawn either on horizontal or vertical base. Bar must be uniform width and intervening space between bar must be equal. While constructing a simple bar diagram, the scale is determined on the basis of the highest value in the series. To make the diagram attractive, the bar can be colored, like in the case you will find out you have got orange, yellow or blue color. So bar diagram are used in business and economics. On the other hand, if we go more into the depth of two-dimensional diagrams, we find out that in two-dimensional diagrams, area of the diagrams are used to represent the magnitude. Rectangles, squares and circles with area proportional to the observations are used to represent each category. Of these, circles are most commonly used. Such diagrams are called pie diagrams. So two-dimensional diagrams are those where the length as well as width of bar both are and the area are considered in the construction of a diagram, and these diagrams are called as area or surface diagrams. So if you go more into the depth of this two-dimensional diagram, you will find out that it starts with the rectangle diagram or square and circle diagram or pie diagram or multiple pie diagrams. So area or surface diagram where two dimension length and width are taken into consideration to represent the data series. Here area of the diagram represents the given data, and important types of such diagrams are rectangle, squares, circles and pie diagram. So anyway, we start with the pie chart, which is a quite familiar the diagrammatical way of presenting the data, and pie charts are generally used to show percentage or proportional data, and use the percentage represented by each category is provided next to the corresponding slice of pie, and pie charts are used for displaying data for around 6 categories, and pie charts are used in data handling and are circular charts divided into segments which each represents a value, whereas pie charts are divided into sections to represent values of different sizes. For example, in the pie chart, the circle represents a whole class. Now question is come, how do you calculate a pie chart? To calculate the percentage each slice is worth, measure the angle of each slice and divide this by 360, then multiply it by 100. This is the way of calculating the pie chart. And to find the number of pieces of data each slice represents, multiply the percentage that each slice is worth by the total number of the data sets. So when should a pie chart can be used? This is a very good question and need to be answered, that a pie chart is best used when trying to work out the composition of something. If you have categorically data, then using a pie chart would work really well, as each slice can represent a different category. A good example of pie chart is very well explained with the help of this particular image, where you have seen that there are certain months that starting from January we have bifurcated into in various months, and each month have got different color and have got certain significance. So is a circular statistical graphic which is divided into slice to illustrate numerical proportion, and in a pie chart the arc length of each slice is proportional to the quantity it represents. So that is very true, and you will observe that one of the color is orange while other is blue, and the proportion is also there. So this itself provide that the whole circle is a chart, whereas the bifurcation is done on the basis of month. So two-dimensional diagram, if you talk in the rectangular basis, the rectangular diagram is one where both length and width are considered while constructing it, and these two slides represent two different characteristics of data. So we have seen that we are considering only this box because this is rectangular diagram and considered to be the two-dimensional cross sections. And so if you talk about the square diagram, their area should be proportional to the magnitudes of the data. For square diagrams, the square root of the given figures which will give the measurement of the sides of the square. So this is known as the square diagram. And if you talk about the sector diagram, so if the total of the circle is to be shown in different parts of components, and this sector diagram is used for it. And we have seen that with the help of the sector diagram we have categorized certain things. It's more or less somewhat synonymous with the pie chart. So anyway, we have already covered the one-dimensional, two-dimensional. Now we are talking about the three-dimensional diagrams. Three-dimensional diagrams are those in which 3 dimensions, that is length, we have observed in the one-dimensional diagrams that only the length is going to be taken care, and the two-dimensional length and width is going to be taken care. So now when you are going to design, when you are going to frame the dimensional diagrams, or in that case you are going to apply the length and width if you are going to talk about the two-dimensional diagrams, whereas in three-dimensional diagrams we are using length, width and height into consideration and taking into account. So they are also known as cubic diagrams. So that is the reason we used to call it as a cubic diagram. It may be drawn in the form of cylinders, blocks, spheres, etc. And three-dimensional diagrams are those in which 3 dimensions we have already talked about, length, width and height are taken, and have a cubic diagram and it can be used in that. So now after talking about all these ways of dimensions, I think the two more diagrams which need to be left is pictograms and cartograms. And if we talk more about the pictograms, pictogram is a technique of presenting data through appropriate pictures, also called picture diagram or pictograph. So it is known as the pictograph or picture graph. And pictogram prove very attractive and effective. They create a lasting impression on the mind. So that is because there are certain picture which is there, and if you see this image, I think these are the symbols that means explosive or self-reactives or organic pre-oxide. So keep clipping symbols until you get the this is the way. And if you see at the right side, you will find out a lot of images are there which is self-explanatory in nature, and it talks about certain symbols which can link with that. So when you are going to talk about the cartograms or map diagrams, cartograms are used to represent data on geographical basis. For example, possible data of rainfall, and these diagrams are very attractive and effective. If message is to be communicated to common people, I think cartogram is the best way of doing the thing. Cartogram is quite useful for mapping the things, and a cartogram is a map in which some thematic mapping variables such as travel time, population is substituted for land area or distance. So if you see this particular image, you will find out that this shows that across the world what is the presence of McDonald's, or across the world what is the presence of Walmart. So this can be very easily explained with the help of cartographs. So there are certain advantages and disadvantages of diagrammatic presentations, and if you talk more about this diagrammatic presentation, attractive and impressive, that is an advantages, and simple and easy to understand, that is very true, because when you compare with the text, this is quite understandable, and from the figure itself you can able to judge what exactly the scenario is, where the movement is going in the upward direction or in the downward direction. So even a layman can understand it is very easily, and in a short time you can able to familiarize yourself that what exactly this particular image want to say. So helpful in making comparisons, they save much time and energy, that is very true. Diagrams leave good visual impact, and diagrams give a clear picture of the data, because as we have already talked in our preceding sessions that when we talk about the research methodology or statistical analysis, the data is going to play a very important role, and the way data multiplies, the way data is multiplying or changing the shape, I think the pictorial way of presenting the data is one of the best way. And when you're talking about the pictorial manner, I think diagrammatic and graphical ways of presenting the data is one of the useful way of explaining the thing. So, but on the other hand, there are certain limitations. So it's difficult in presenting a presentation of data, because sometimes the data size is quite high, and if you are going to accumulate that data in that particular diagrammatic format, I think somewhere you have to eliminate some of the content. So in that case, what will happen, you won't going to give the holistic view of that particular data which you are going to interpreting. So limited amount of information is going to be taken care, and it misuse easily and useful only for comparative studies. When you are going to compare, I think for that it is going to be quite useful, and only limited set of data can be presented. That is very true, because there are certain constraints which need to be done. And on the other hand, when you are going to talk about the diagrammatical presentation, there are some other ways of presenting the things. Either it could be the organizational chart or flow chart. So if we talk about the qualitative in the way of presenting the data, the format depends on the nature of information, and under these two diagrams we will discuss two different types of diagrams, that is organizational chart and flow charts. So if we emphasize more on the organizational chart, we can take an example of our university, and these type of charts are most commonly used to represent the internal structure of the organization. And if we take, say that IGNOU is an organization, a special format is used in the following illustrations, which relates the organizational structure. It starts with the visitor, then board of management, then planning board, academic council, distance education council, then finance committee, then honorable vice chancellor is there, then there are certain pro vice chancellor, and certain schools, divisions and centers are there. So this is an example of the institutions where we have taken. On the other hand, you see the hierarchies are there. When you talk about the business, you find out that the business starts with the upper level, lower level, middle level and lower level. So in the upper level you have people who take the strategic decisions, and on the other hand you have a middle level managers and you have a lower level managers which emphasize on the operational issues. So this also require a kind of diagram. So because when you are making a diagram, you are making a system which can be give the impression of how the organization used to govern and run. So on the other hand, there are certain marketing channels also, like how the when the manufacturer is going to produce any product, how it is moved to the wholesalers, retailers or the distribution channels, and then finally reach to the consumers. So this is the manner by which the things are going to be done. And on the other hand, the flow chart is also one of the way of presenting a data, and in the form of diagram. And flow chart is a type of diagram that represents a workflow or process. If you talk more about it, a flow chart can also be defined as a diagrammatic representation of an algorithm, a step-by-step approach to solve a task. The flow chart shows the steps as boxes of various kinds and their order by connecting the boxes with arrows. So what if we see this particular image, you will find out that how the recruitment requisition is done, that selecting criteria, advertisement of the job, how the person is going to be suitable for the job, then the interview candidate and access against criteria, and then second interview. So this is the way where you can provide certain way that option of yes and no is there. If so, the decision tree and the flow chart modeling is quite important aspect in this particular scene. So anyway, I think I have talked a lot about the one step ahead to that when we have explained the data and how we are going to present the data. Today, the scenario talks more about that diagrammatic way of presenting the data is somewhat quite conducive in nature and quite demanding also. And keeping in mind this diagrammatical way of presentation of data, then the graphical way of presenting of data, and as well as the video or the multimedia way of presenting the data. This is one of the biggest trend which is coming up, and as a researcher we have to follow all those models and follow all those ways to interpret the things and to explain the things. I think this presentation part, as far as the presentation of data is concerned or processing of data is concerned, we have already talked about, and this particular block is giving more emphasis to how we are going to streamline the data, and this particular presentation is definitely throw a light on all these aspects. Thank you very much. We have some more thought-provoking sessions which can link with this particular course and this particular theme. Thank you.